And there are the standings, the final results in the women's gymnastics. Yelena Shushanova, the Soviet Union, and Joyce Wilborn did win the bronze for the United States, and that surprised
always excelled. There's a good reason, since great attention has always been paid the athlete who can bring honor to the motherland along with that gold medal. But big-time sport isn't the only game in town.
3, 4, раз, два.
It's exercise for the masses. It's on Soviet TV, and lest you think this is the product of an active PR man's imagination, think again. Lilia Olenova runs a class in the heart of Moscow for regular folks. Muscovites who, we're told, were looking to the Soviet Sports Committee for a little attention. An athletic trickle-down theory, if you will, from the big-time athlete to the common man and woman.
I'm fond of dancing, so that's here I can dance a little, and I can just I can be fit for dancing, and I like to dance at home just with my mirror, and so here I get a little training, and besides all of us are fond of our teacher.
When our women are more ready, more strong, that is, in about 4 years, then we'll also be able to do stronger gymnastics. Now what many women have to do is lose excess weight, work on their flexibility. Then we'll be more prepared for stronger gymnastics with stronger stomachs and arms.
Technically, the Soviets are running behind the U.S. in aerobic and fitness technique. The point is, they're doing something and enjoying it.
Of course, one man's exercise is another man's agony, and working out isn't for everyone. But at least now the point is, people have a choice to work out however they want to. For the Goodwill Games, I'm Paul Ryden. Little help.
Of the individual event finals in women's gymnastics, we just saw the vault. We saw Angie Dinkins. Also in that particular vault event of the United States, she finished 7th, while Joyce Wilborn walked away with a bronze medal. It was the first medal the United States has earned in gymnastics competition here at the Goodwill Games. And now we're going to move our competition over to the uneven bars, where, Kathy, the level of difficulty has increased considerably over the last few years.
This event has really changed over the past few years. You'll notice that the bars are being put way out so that the girls can swing giant swings, major release moves like you see on men's high bar. It's become much more exciting.
So far, in the preliminary and team competition, the vault was the highest scoring event yet. The average score on the uneven bars coming in, with the competitors we'll see, there are 8 young ladies, 9.75. How would you rank that?
Well, it's a little bit harder in this event to get originality tenths, and that's why the scores are a little bit lower in this event. But we're going to see some really good routines here.
And, of course, Yelena Shushanova in the team competition really nailed her exercise and scored the first perfect 10 of the complete gymnastics competition to that point.
And also, besides Yelena Shushanova, there's a young lady named Vera Kolesnikova, who came in with a 9, who's coming into the competition with a 9.8, as is a young lady from North Korea, Choi Milyan, who also had a 9.8. So this competition is going to be a little tight.
Sure is. Kolesnikova is really the surprise in this competition. She's not at all the top gymnast that the Soviets have, but she was just on yesterday.
And I think as much of a surprise that Kolesnikova was so awesome in her performance was the surprise that Shushanova actually had 2 major errors. All week long we have been really comparing her to Yuri Korleov from the Soviet Union's men's team, who is also probably one of the stronger performers. I don't think the best gymnast from the Soviet team, but he was so consistent. Whereas Shushanova, we expected her to be very consistent, had 2 major mistakes in the individual all-around competition and virtually handed the title to Vera Kolesnikova.
And it was ironic because Kolesnikova had to overcome a deficit of 6/10 in the all-around to win by 0.15, and she'll be the first young lady we'll be seeing here. We'll see her a couple times a day, in fact, and she's a joy to watch also.
Bart, it was just for that reason, her making those 2 mistakes, that I think Shushanova is really going to do well tonight. She has some added incentive.
You saw a couple of the women from the United States team. Well, I'll tell you, they do some real tricks here with cameras in the Soviet Union, don't they? You don't know whether the gymnast is right side up or upside down.
And it's kind of hard to tell anyways, even when there's really hard.
So the warm-up continues for the uneven parallel bars.
And this is Gabriela Patorak. We saw her in yesterday's individual competition on the balance beam. And she's an exciting little performer. She does lots of difficulty, but I don't believe she has the polish that we've seen from some of our Soviet champions.
Well, she's still very young.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the building that we're coming to you from. We're live here. It's called the Indoor Stadium, this complex, the Olympic Sports Complex, built in 1980. And right across from where we're seated, there's a movable partition. It's a soundproof partition that separates us from the boxing venue. Two events can take place at the same time right here. And they understand the width of the movable partition is 26 yards. So no wonder it's soundproof. Here's the young lady we were speaking of earlier. There's the partition there with the Moscow 1986 sign.
I don't know if it's exactly soundproof because there's been some pretty exciting boxing going on, and we've heard some cheering bleeding through that big wall.
It certainly is. And in fact, the finals of the boxing is getting ready to start over there momentarily as we speak. It's part of two arenas that we're sitting in here, considered the most modern construction in the Soviet Union. Both halls have independent scoreboards. 16,000 can be seated in the arena in which we are in, the gymnastics arena, and 17,000 across the way for boxing. Meanwhile, the first competitor in the uneven parallel bars is about to mount the apparatus. This is Vera Kolesnikova.
Besides Shushanova, the top Soviet performers on this event really had problems in the team competition, and therefore Kolesnikova finds herself tied for second going into this, her weakest event. But it surely didn't look like a weak event for her yesterday.
Won the all-around. 9.8 was her preliminary score on the uneven bars.
Setting up. The reverse hecht. It's moving quite well. Now watch this next move. It's a reverse hecht. She catches in mixed grip, half turn, and drops right to the low bar. It's a 1.5 twist.
Oh, nice combination to the low bar.
She lost a little bit of form there on that twisting move. But other than that, she's working quite well. Double twisting flyaway.
Good performance. Vera Kolesnikova. 17 years of age. She hails from the town of Voronezh in the Soviet Union. She's 5'3". She visited Florida this past spring. Said she tried a little body surfing and really enjoyed it. Quite an athlete.
5'3", and she looks like a giant out there compared to the rest of the competitors.
She is tall.
Notice right here, she does a reverse hecht, sets herself up again when she kips to a handstand. Now she's going to do the same skill exactly, but as she regrasps the bar, notice she's going to cross her arms right there and do a half turn and regrasp.
She says that her teammates are her strongest competitors, and they are good ones.
There's that 1.5 twist. You can see a little leg separation, but it won't be a major deduction.
Didn't she do that move in competition, Kathy?
I sure did.
Oh, I don't think she did it half as well as
that
you
was
did.
a long time ago, Bart.
Kathy, you haven't been retired that long.
And a double twisting flyaway.
9.85, the score for Vera Kolesnikova on the uneven bars. So she's out in front now with a score of 19.650. Meanwhile, as we look at her right now, Vera Kolesnikova, we'll also see her again on the beam. She says her idol is teammate Natalia Yurchenko. One of your favorites too, Kathy.
She sure is.
Elena Shushanova, who won the gold on the vault.
Now, she has the potential to score a 10 on this event.
She had a 10 in the preliminary competition.
It's a nice reverse hecht. She's so strong. And a ginger, just like they do on men's high bar.
All she needs is a 9.65 to take the lead away from Kolesnikova.
And a half in, half out. Full twisting double.
That could be the other 10. She doesn't even need a big score to retain the lead in this competition on the uneven bars, but we could have just seen a second perfect 10.
There have only been 3 10s in the competition. There were none in the men's competition, all of them in the women's competition. We saw 2 yesterday, and that young lady holds 2 of the 10s.
And it's very conceivable, if she gets a 10 here, that she will have won the competition with a perfect 20 in the combined score of both performances. I don't know how you can beat anybody who gets a 20.
Especially when you don't have a 10 to work with to start out.
Look at that, the height on the Ginger. That's a back somersault with a half twist to regrasp. She is like a machine on this event.
She has a 310 showing on the scoreboard and 399s. Pretty good. I think she's going to win it.
And a half in, half out. That's a full twisting double back.
6 judges. Take the top and the low, throw them out, average the middle. The middle 4 scores. Yelena Shushanova had a 10 in the preliminaries, had a 9-9 in the all-arounds. She finished second to Kolesnikova in the all-arounds, who's the current leader. But you have to think that that's only going to be for the next few seconds until they change the scoreboard. Then she's going to regain or take the lead.
It's important to note right here that, did they change one of those scores?
9.95, and for all practical purposes, she has a goal, because anything close to 9.80 was going to give her a goal because of the scores of the other competitors. So a 19.950, and for all practical purposes, she is the winner of the uneven parallel bars. And for a tie, Chen Kui-Ting will need a perfect 10.
She has such beautiful line on her handstand. Oh, just a little loss of control there. To Delchev, she makes the half turn and then does the front somersault to regrasp. Long jump from that low bar to the high bar.
So she's only 4'7" and I think 64 pounds.
And another half in, half out dismount.
Chen Kui-Ting, we saw her earlier on the vault. She came in with a 9.65, but she was going to need at least a 10 to tie for second.
Look at the perfectly straight arms on her giant swings. Is that Delchev?
Boy, that's a long reach down to that low bar.
Sure is, but her height really comes in handy when she does the giant swings between the bars. She has a lot of room in there to swing.
Got it.
She's waiting for her score. We've noticed sparkles on her face the last couple of days. I don't see them today.
Yeah, I think she left that great makeup, huh?
Score.
Kathy made a good point about the straight arms on the giant swings. He has excellent position in the whole exercise. And it's hard to believe that someone that little and that cute can actually be that powerful and that explosive.
The score's not that great as far as her standings are concerned, especially with Choi Mil-Yan of North Korea coming up. 9.60 should be the average if you throw out the high and the low. And that would give her a 9.60 for a grand total of 19.250. She's now in 3rd place. Remember, Shushanova has the goal. Kolesnikova right now is in 2nd place, and here's Choi Mil-Yan. She has a chance to tie for second with a 9.85. She could tie Kolesnikova. A 9.9 would give her 2nd place, all alone.
The North Koreans have really progressed in gymnastics. It's a Jaeger front. She's moving quite well so far. Free hip to handstand, giant swing, and a heck back somersault off.
A little trouble on the landing there. She had the 2nd highest score in the team competition, came in with a 9.8, tied with Vera Kolesnikova, who's now in 2nd place. That was Choi Mil-Yan of North Korea.
You know, I think it's important to note here that these girls do nice work, but it's different because now they do less transitional moves from the high bar to the low bar. partly because the bars are so wide apart. The judges do require that they go from the high bar down to the low bar, and in many cases, a lot of these girls are doing what I would call token gymnastic skills here on the low bar just to fill the requirement so they can get back up to the high bar and do some of the big tricks.